What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down 5 tips to be the best quarterback on your team. Let's get started. Now, before we get into this video, fellas, if you're a quarterback and you want to learn how to read defenses, how you guys can recognize coverages and know the best plays to beat those specific coverages, check out that link in the description below where you can get access to 500 plus videos all on how to read defenses. They're exactly like the breakdown videos that we do on form and technique on this channel, but they're all about improving your football IQ. So if you're a quarterback and want to learn one of the most beneficial things you can have that will take your skills to that next level and want to learn how to read defenses, again, check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. All right, guys, so if you want to be, starting quarterback on your team, best quarterback on your team, the first thing you got to know is the playbook. So let's think about it like maybe you're an underclassman, let's say you're a freshman, maybe an 8th grader, this is your first time playing on varsity. The most beneficial thing you can do is learn that playbook in and out. You should be asking your coaches for a copy of the playbook, access to the huddle before spring ball even starts, during off-season workouts, and definitely before the season starts. You have a good grip on it. One of the things that'll hold a lot of young guys back is that they just simply don't know their plays. They don't study their plays. They don't know their progressions. They don't know their reads. They don't know the different dropbacks that are tied to the different plays that they need to learn. Now, all of that stuff, anybody can learn it, especially at the high school level, especially at a youth level. Anybody can get down a playbook because it is not that complicated. A complicated playbook is in some college programs, but in the NFL, those are the complicated playbooks. So in high school, youth ball, you guys have it so easy and they break it down so simple for you guys. So if you don't know your playbook, that's just utter laziness. Now, a lot of people will make the excuse like, oh, well, we don't have a playbook. It's hard for me to remember it because we don't have a hard copy of the playbook. They don't upload the plays to Huddle. You need to do that. You need to make note cards. You need to write on a whiteboard. You should have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks filled with just the plays that you guys run so you can remember them. I remember being, a sophomore or freshman, first time on varsity, practicing with the team. Everybody on the team already knows the plays. They're not looking at the playbook. They're not handing out a playbook. What I would do is I would sit there right next to the coach when he would make the play call. I would remember the play call. I would go write it down. Even if it was a little bit off, at least I was somewhat familiar with the concept. So something that I could recommend to you guys to help you study a playbook is a note card whiteboard system. So you get a note card. On one side of the note card, write the name of the play. On the other side of the note card, write out the actual diagram of the play. Then quiz yourself with the whiteboard drawing the play out. Have the name of the play, write it out on a whiteboard so it's easy to erase, easy to correct, and test yourself that way. Honestly, fellas, not knowing a playbook is just utter laziness, and that is one of the main things that will keep guys off the field. All right, guys, so the second thing that's going to help you be a better quarterback and be the best quarterback on your team, a starting quarterback on your team, is not being result-oriented. So this is something that a lot of young quarterbacks do not understand and will not get it down if they do not have the above-the-neck stuff, their mindset, their approach to the game down. And so by result-oriented, I mean letting your emotions be affected by the result of the play. I remember when I played, I was one of those hot-headed guys. I'd throw a pick, I'd come off the sideline, I'd be cussing, I'd throw the ball, I'd throw the headset, I'd get super pissed, right? And then when I threw a touchdown, I would celebrate, I'd run down the field, jump into everybody, whatever. And it's good to celebrate, it's good to be positive, I get that. But you can't let the result of a play dictate your emotions and how you feel, because that's gonna ruin your entire game. I've never once had a positive workout where, let's say I come out and throw, I would throw a lot with my dad as a kid, right? Especially in high school, he'd go out there, catch for me, and let's say I wasn't spinning the ball great. I would get so pissed off and it would ruin the entire workout because I was result oriented. I wasn't focused on the next play, the next rep, and how you can improve. So a lot of young quarterbacks will get into a practice setting and they'll have a bad play, they'll throw a pick, and they're just down on themselves, and that drags the energy of the entire team down, and that is not what a starting quarterback does. If you throw a pick, learn from it. You throw a touchdown, great, it's on to the next one, because you're only as good as your last one. So do not be result oriented. This is something that is not talked about enough in this quarterback community or quarterback space. So just make sure, fellas, you are focused on the next rep, next play mentality. You're only as good as the next one, and that's what you should be focused on to be a more successful and more positive quarterback. All right, guys, so the next thing that you need to be a starting quarterback and the best quarterback on your team is arm strength. So if you cannot make the throws that they require of you, there are certain throws that you have to make as a quarterback. You have to be able to throw a fade ball. You have to be able to throw a timing out route, a timing post, get the ball out of your hands to an opposite hash throw. Those types of throws require arm strength, and arm strength is something that you need to improve on and need to get better on before the season starts this year. So now, what are some things that you could do besides obviously the throwing mechanics, the throwing motion, the hips, the legs? What can you do to strengthen strengthen your arm. And I want to talk about stuff that you can do in the gym. So a lot of quarterbacks are just not gym guys, right? Like they neglect the gym, they don't think it's important. And again, like you don't want to be that quarterback who's bench pressing, doing curls, heavy overhead press, because all that does is restrict your motion and your mobility upper half. But with the lower half, that is where you can really make some strides with arm strength, with your hip rotation, and be more efficient. So strengthening your core. Any type of ab exercise in the gym is great for quarterbacks, because what are we? We're rotational athletes, and we like to rotate a lot with my lower half of my core. So if we have a strong core, that's going to lead to a stronger arm. Now, the other thing is generating power in your legs. So if you're a quarterback and you neglect the squat rack, you don't like leg day, you don't like maybe not straight bar deadlifts, I like trap bar deadlifts because that's more of your legs, but you're neglecting leg workouts, you're neglecting arm strength on the field. So if you feel like your arm strength is capped out, you feel like you have good mechanics, good throwing form, to get stronger and make those higher level type throws, you need to strengthen your core, your legs, your hips, but still maintain mobility in the upper half. So if you guys would like some quarterback gym workouts that you guys can do, post that in the comment section below, and I'll send you over some material we have to help you with that. All right, guys, so the next thing I want to talk to you about being the starting quarterback and best quarterback on your team is leadership. So you have to lead from the front, especially when you're new to the team, right? Like you get a lot of times people get this like leadership, like stigma, and they think that, oh, to be a leader, I got to yell at guys, I got to bark at guys and tell them what to do and hold them accountable and do all these things. But if you have not proven yourself yet, you are going to get a lot of pushback, especially from the older people on that team, like seniors, juniors, upperclassmen, especially if you were a lower classman going into the team. Leadership is not all about just yelling at guys, being a rah-rah guy, getting in their face, being like, come on, what are you doing? Like, that's not what leadership is. You have to lead from the front before you can lead vocally. Now, what do I mean by lead from the front? I mean actually doing the work. I mean actually showing up to every single gym workout, every single team function. And that is part of the work, right? Showing up to team functions and bonding with your teammates, that is stuff that's going to give you more credibility with them, and they know that you actually care about them more than just on a football level, right? And not what they can do for you, more so what you can do for them, right? So leading from the front is actually putting in the effort and actually putting in the work. Like, I remember times where like, I'm not even the starting quarterback. I know I'm not going to start. I'm sitting behind guys that are much older than me, much more talented. And I would show up every day and my goal was to outwork those guys. And I wasn't just like, oh, maybe I'll get my shot. I was trying to earn the team's respect. So when I did get my shot, they were ready to roll with me. So you have to lead from the front before you can start yelling at people. You hear all the stories of, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, getting into guys and all that. But the thing that those guys did is they led from the front. And you ask anybody that was in the building with those guys when they first got there, they were putting in the actual work and they were putting in the time. So you have to put in the time. You have to pay your dues. Do not miss a lift. Do not miss a practice. Do not miss any team function, and work your ass off when you are at those events, because that is what earns the respect of your teammates, and they will listen to you and not want to let you down. And that's how you can be a more successful leader. All right, guys, so the next thing I want to talk about that's going to help you be a starting quarterback on your team is the ability to read a defense. So we kind of briefly touched on this in the beginning of the video, and this ties into knowing your playbook and knowing your reads. But if you guys can understand defensive concepts, that only makes your job easier as a quarterback. Like, why is it important to read a defense? Because you know what each defender is going to do. Like, let's say, for example, let's talk about like cover two for a second, right? So cover two, the two corners are sitting in the flats, two high safeties are taking away the deep half of the field. Why is it important to know that? Because you know where the weaknesses are of that defense, so you could go with the ball where a play is designed to beat that specific coverage, right? So like, let's say you have a play where like the outside wide receiver is running a fade and the slot wide receiver is running a post, right? So if it's cover two, you know that safety, because the corner's sitting in the flats, that safety has to pick one. So as soon as you snap that ball, your eyes get to that safety. He widens with the fade. You could throw the post right off the break and anticipate it because you know the coverage. So you have to understand how to read defenses, fellas. And again, if you want to learn how to read defenses, check out that very first link in the description below. We have 500 plus videos all breaking down defensive coverages, the coverages you'll see, and the best plays to beat those coverages.